me. Oh, that's the good stuff right there. What's up, everybody? DRJ here, and today I wanted to talk to you about the horrific news of my channel finally being offered a machinima partnership. Couldn't get any worse than this. So obviously I'm being a little bit sarcastic. This happened actually a while ago, I don't know, a month or two ago or something like that. And man, I don't know where to begin on this. I actually have a whole bunch, I always make notes for these things to make sure that I'm not just sort of running myself in circles, but I feel like I have so much to talk about, as always, which is why I love to do these. But it's hard to know where to begin. I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of messages, all sorts of notifications, especially when I'm doing my live streams, which I love to do, by the way, where you guys are telling me about, all sorts of deals, with whatever, IGN, GameSpot, whatever it happens to be, doing the, getting paid to do certain reviews, and whether or not they're actually getting paid to do certain reviews is sometimes hard to figure out. But I think often the case, whether or not they're getting paid to do reviews is, I don't want to say it's besides the point, but the reviews are clearly lacking substance. They, whether intentional or otherwise, they're written, from a very vague sort of standpoint. It's kind of like, maybe you could compare it to eating something like fast food. Fast food can taste great, but it's totally lacking on like any sort of nutrients. And it's oftentimes why you feel like shit after eating it, because you basically ate a whole bunch of empty calories. Your body got nothing other than, like I said, a bunch of empty calories. And I feel like every time I read a review from almost any any gaming site out there, you get basically nothing on what the actual, components are of that video game, why they thought what they did, what led them to believe, or derive the certain points that they did about that game. Like I said, it's really hard to take away much of anything relating to substance from almost any review out there from any big name gaming site or any small name gaming site. There really isn't a whole lot in between, other than maybe my own website, if that even, I don't know, it's my own blog, does goofy shit. So, one of the things I want to talk about, first of all, just real quick light out there, my goal with doing this stuff, as I've said several times before, but always getting new subs, so it doesn't hurt to repeat it. One of my big goals, at least 50% of what I want to do with this YouTube channel, is essentially create better games through educating gamers, which revolves around, creating a dialogue, rational discourse, talking about the things that I like, the things that I don't. Doesn't necessarily mean that you guys agree or disagree. Hopefully you don't disagree with everything I'm saying. But what I want to do, most importantly, is I want to spell out why I think what I think when I'm talking about the different points I'm making regarding certain video games or different areas, the gameplay, whatever it happens to be, the tactics that I use, what I think goes into making good players good, bad players bad, whatever it happens to be. I want you guys to understand where it is I'm coming from, why I'm saying what I'm saying, and that way you guys have something to work on when you reply back to me, as opposed to, the opposite side of that spectrum would be something more along the lines of, this game sucks dick and I hate it, and that's basically all you say. Like, well, that may be the case if you're describing a game, but, if those are the words you're using to describe something, it really doesn't get your point across. And I think where it becomes confusing when you're talking about a site like IGN or Game Informer or Destructoid or even Joystick, things like that, is oftentimes they're using a whole lot of words. They can use a variety of language to attempt to describe what it is they're looking at, but at the same time, like I said, you still walk away with that feeling as if you gained really no new further insight into the game or those mechanics. You have just the same level of insight you did before you went to the website. So what a load of shit. And obviously there's a lot of both financial, maybe internal pressure for them to write a variety of different positive reviews. Obviously, Mass Effect has had some controversy surrounding it. So has Skyrim, especially in my opinion. In no way does it deserve 10 out of 10s. We'll not go. I don't know if I get sidetracked if I talk about Skyrim. And then Dragon Age 2, was a huge one. BioWare's track record is a little spotty right now, more than a little spotty. Kind of sketchy. So. But one of the things I want to one of the points I want to make is a Game Informer, which I believe is like a subsidiary or affiliated with IGN. I'm not exactly sure how. But Game Informer will actually list the page views that they have on their different reviews or articles. And oftentimes the views on there will number between anywhere from 500 to I think I've seen up to 10,000. And the video that I'm putting out today will garner between, I don't know, maybe 5,000 to 8,000 views. I still have a relatively tiny channel. I recently hit 13,000 subs. But the dialogue and the conversations and interaction that you and I can have with each other via the comments, via the website, via the live streams, via Twitter, you guys, if you like something, twittering it off to whatever developer, or making your own videos and twitting those off to developers, making your own websites, doing whatever. The impact that we can have is already far bigger than I think what most people might realize. Like I said, this channel, as time goes on, I plan on putting more and more time into it, more and more quality. But right now, even though I feel in its infancy, I've been doing this for maybe a solid 6 months, not even a solid 6 months, sort of sketchy 6 months, Even in its infancy, we're already starting to rival, views on some of the really big name video game websites. So, change is definitely possible, and I think that right now it's I don't want to say it's the world's greatest coincidence, but it's a really, really cool time, I think, to be doing something like this right now because of all this controversy that has been surrounding all the horrific implementation of so many recent AAA titles that have come out in the last couple of years. It's hard to really generalize games that cross over into different genres, but I think, without a doubt, I don't want to say that COD started off was the beginning of the end for video games or anything like that, because it is an FPS and not all games are FPSs or anything. But at the same time, COD most likely stumbled across something accidentally. What they found out is that, developing a certain type of game that, has installed, these skill ceilings that prohibit, great players from reaching maximum potential and, doing that sort of, creating that atmosphere where, anybody and everybody is more or less equal. Not that, you can't still have good players and bad players, and I don't want to get too off on a tangent here. But like I said, creating that sort of artificial environment where, as I like to phrase it, anybody can be, sort of king for a day. And I've played COD, I've played a number of video games, a number of people have played COD, and I've seen those same players, like I said, I've played with in a number of other titles, and they might be a great COD player, and transferring those skills, or when I go to play a different video game, it simply doesn't transfer over, and it's not there. Kind of gets off to another discussion, but like I said, I'm not going to blame everything on COD or anything like that, but I think that what developers are starting to figure out, and it shouldn't become too much of a surprise, is that people like you and I, the general consumers right now, are sort of being, our voices are being drowned out by the voices of many, and the voices of many, unfortunately, aren't being so critical, or aren't being nearly as critical as I think they should be. And I think what's starting to happen is we're being saturated with mediocre content, and it's really starting to, like I said, bleed over into the various genres, whether it's FPSs, action style games, RTSs. Those great games are definitely few and far between. And 10 years ago, something like that, I would have referred to myself as thought of myself as more of a hardcore gamer, and I think as time goes on, the whole definition or idea, I think even of a hardcore gamer, is slowly starting to fade away, simply because games, like I said, are one of two things. Either they're being intentionally designed to install those artificial skill ceilings, or two, they're realizing that population that is buying their video games cares so little about, I want to say cares so little, is so lacking in knowledge of what makes a game great, that they can get away with giving them almost anything, and they'll be happy, they'll be satisfied, they'll be complacent. And I think, someone in my position who has played games for a long time and oftentimes found themselves, at the highest level, I think that, I am more critical than most people, but what I think I can do, what I want to do, is share that insight, share my reasoning, share my thoughts, my ideas on what makes good games good, bad games bad, and hopefully have you guys talk to your friends about that, talk with me about that, let the developers know about that. And how that all relates back to the whole idea of a machinima partnership is that, I'm reluctant to do it because I would hate to have the possible bias there to become like that which I so despise. I'd hate to have my channel turn into the next, Walmart of video games, aka IGN. I don't think that it would ever be possible for me to put out a review that I did not 110% totally believe in. It just would never be possible. I have a job outside of this, a full-time job. I am very happy with it. I don't plan on ever leaving it, no matter how successful this channel becomes. So I feel like the financial incentive isn't quite so strong as it would be if this were my sole income. But that being said, would I be swayed to start playing more games of COD if it got me more views? Probably. But like I said, at the same time, this channel fails to do what it will do if I'm not reaching as many gamers as possible, and signing up with Machinima, being able to upload videos in a style such as this to their main channel and reaching a subscriber base 1,000, 10,000 times greater than my own, is something that's really hard to pass up. So I really haven't decided on what I'm going to do. But I just want to let you guys know that regardless of what does happen, whether I go with Machinima, somebody else, nobody at all, that it's a really, really tough call. But in no way, shape, or form would I ever sacrifice my my integrity or my thoughts, my ideas, my passion to make an extra buck. It's not in me. I don't have the ability to do that. I would never do it in a million fucking years. I'd burn every goddamn bridge that I came to if that's what it meant to stand up for what I really think, for what I believe. And I'm extremely passionate about video games. They've been a huge hobby of mine my entire life. And it's been really frustrating and sad to I feel like see them fall from grace, or rather not continue on the increasing in quality as I hoped that they would. So there is that. I'll post this to my website. You guys, feel free to talk there. Feel free to talk in the comments. I like to read all of them. I obviously can't respond to all of them, but I'll do what I can. Real quick here at the end, let's see what I'm going to say. A lot of you guys have asked me about my job, and this has nothing to do with what the Machinima partnership, but a lot of you guys have asked me my job, so I think I'm putting out a video where I talk about the ins and outs of what I love about that, and what it means as far as gaming goes. And on a side note with that, I've been trying to figure out what I want to do, because now I have so much more time. I feel like why I am the way I am, as far as how I like to explain things, the way I value communication, the whole idea of rational discourse, the exchange of information between two people. A lot of that comes from basically, I would argue, science, and how I fell in love with that, and some of it, even like I said, I also have had, or more of a previous interest in religion, and I've had a lot of ideas and things I want to talk about. I'm not sure if I want to actually do it on this channel. I might be creating a separate YouTube channel and just posting it to my website. So that may or may not see something like that in the future, but I don't know what my plans are with that. Not totally fleshed out. But I think that those kinds of ideas, those kinds of concepts, as far as like what makes science so great, what sets it apart from all the other disciplines out there, are things you can apply to any area. And I think that video games, especially right now, is an area that definitely needs some critical thinking. And last but not least, of course, I don't know if you guys saw the debut Saints Row trailer, but Bruce and I are starting another co-op, so that should be a lot of fun, and feel free to check that out. That's all for now. As usual, comments, criticisms, critique, feel free to let me know, and like I said, I'll do my best to respond.